figure it out. What is up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Show Me Yo Stack. Today I'm here with someone I've actually is a previous customer of Super. It's someone I've admired. One of the people that bought it in Super early, Kevin Stout. He is CEO, co-founder now of Revductive, and he helps you win. He helps you win via AI implementation, which is really important nowadays, and RevOps and how that all matters. Kevin, welcome to the show. I'm excited to learn on your stack and what you see as the top 5 things you that help you run your business or help you run client businesses.
Sure. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to it.
Love it. My 11-month-old in the middle of it just joined. I'm going
Surprise guest, huh?
Okay. Okay. So Kevin, there's a whole lot of places that can take. I'm very interested. We're going to go from 5 to 1.
Sure.
What is your 5th most important piece of your tech stack today?
If you wouldn't mind, just real quick, I wouldn't mind throwing out 3 quick honorable mentions, specifically because we're talking about my tech stack, right? And what I'm currently using. Since I'm an agency, obviously I have clients and I have a stack that I recommend to my clients as well. The 3 of these aren't in my tech stack yet. We haven't gotten large enough to use them, but every single proposal that goes to every single client I have, especially if they have HubSpot, obviously one includes you guys as one of the recommendations, of course. And then Sales Message and Revenue Hero are the 2 other tools that I've recommended to nearly every client so far in the last year or 2. Revenue Hero being the kind of lead qualification and sort of lead routing tool, kind of similar to Piper. And Sales Message is my go-to for SMS automation, especially because of the way that they're working with AI. Their AI agents for SMS are
incredible,
the best in class. Yeah.
Well, I love that. This is helpful as we think about. We're talking about your tech stack, and there's often client tech stack. So I like you that. Maybe we'll have you on talk about clients or talk through this. So I appreciate it. And so put this as you're Revductive. You've had this for a bit. You serve clients that are often in HubSpot specific tech stacks, and they're going through AI transformation. So as you're doing this in the service, what's your number 5? What's something helping you win business and run operations?
Yeah. So the first one's Gamma. I suck at design. I've never been very good at making things look pretty. Pretty decent at building content from a text perspective, but once it graduates past text, I can't make things look good. So Gamma's been great. I've been using a little bit more Claude design and artifacts on Claude for that sort of thing more recently, but Gamma's been part of my stack for the last couple of years, so it's kind of ingrained.
You predicted my question. So me, I like to talk as I use. Maybe this is just my personality. I'm when I like HubSpot, it's because it has a lot of the tools that I need to execute one thing, and it's just Claude. Since I moved from ChatGPT in February with Opus 4.6, changed my life, and really. I've never used Gamma. So why is a Claudia, in a committed relationship to Claudia, why would I use or change or cheat on Claudia for Gamma for design? And what does it do that Claude doesn't?
Yeah, I mean, not much anymore, to be completely honest. It's part of my daily routine. It has some of my design preferences. Like I said, I'm starting to use Claude Design more. That being said, if I want to just very quickly take notes on what I want a presentation to look like and drop them into Gamma, I could get a pretty good presentation that looks pretty consistent with my design pretty frequently. But again, Claude Design could do that too. I also host some of my sales materials on Gamma. It's easy to just kind of build a subdomain and a little bit of a website with sales materials on Gamma. Not that I couldn't do that with Claude and Versal or something like that, and just publish to a site that I'm hosting in that way. But it just ease of use to just go from idea to page real quick is pretty useful. So part of my website's in one place, but part of it's in Gamma.
That is helpful to do. We do Claude plus Nexify. That's what we use.
Okay.
Okay, let's go. So Gamma, you're not the first person on the show to say Gamma, and I've yet to try it. Maybe you're the person that's gonna make me do it. So number 2, or your 4th most important after Gamma, what do you use?
Yeah, this is a little bit of a combo, and it's kind of a cost saving measure. So combination of a Hostinger VPS and Coolify, specifically because I used to use Replit, Versal, all kinds of other tools for quickly creating and hosting some of the internal tools that I'm making for myself or my clients with Claude Code usually. And I was just looking for a way to host a lot of different projects without having to worry about usage costs. I spend like $9 a month, but have very similar functionality to something like Versal with Coolify. So I just kind of mess around with my own internal projects within Claude, and it automatically deploys them to my VPS with Coolify.
I've never. What is this called?
Coolify?
Coolify.
Coolify. It's pretty much, from what I understand, and again, I'm not a developer. I'm just screwing around with all this stuff like everybody else that's vibe coding out there. But I get the sense that it's an open source Versal that you can self-host on your own server. Yeah, because basically what it gives me the ability to do is I create a project in Coolify, I connect my GitHub repo to it, and I can make changes to my repo from Claude Code, and then it will auto deploy to those projects within my VPS and Hostinger, which I'm paying like $8 for. So
yeah, I bet there's a lot like Nexafly, and it's funny they all end with like fly at the end of this. Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, so Coolify, you are anytime you have your GitHub, your local repository connected to it. When you make a change, and it auto publishes in the main branch, it just executes there, so you don't have to worry about it, which is nice.
Yep.
How are you using that? Is that when you say that? How many of these projects do you have? Is per client, and what context is it?
It's a little bit of like tools that I'm screwing around with for myself, along with stuff for clients, right? So like dashboards for clients. I'm getting to the point where building reporting within a tool like HubSpot or within a BI tool is something I'm no longer interested in doing at all.
Isn't that crazy? I just talked about this. Like, I was like, I think there's something to be said about, and I guess like people like me and you, I don't know what that means, but like people like me and you my interface of choice is like a co-work space or some kind of, let's just call it co-work instead of just code or vibe coding.
Yeah.
And I care a lot about data. I don't care as much about how you present that data to me, because I have specific ways I want to see it, and I don't really care what. It's just like I know how I want to see it, and I actually value more that than going into your UI and doing it.
Yep,
so,
100%.
Okay. So we have Gamma,
Fantasy,
Coolify, and what is number 3?
Number 3 for me is Gumloop. I've been using it for a few years now. Big fan. I've used N8N. I've used Make. I've used what Zapier is adding on from the AI side of things, and I keep coming back to Gumloop. It's my favorite no-code.
I have never used Gumloop. You keep saying things that I've never used Gamma, never used Coolify, never used Gumloop. You're like throwing me on a Gumloop. I didn't even know existed. So you're like I was a Power Make user at one point. I've changed to Zapier now that they've made it easier to just MCP, like ask questions and connect stuff. Why would I use Gumloop? Like, what is the difference? Why is it better?
Yeah, great question. Few things. From my perspective, building custom nodes and integrations with other tools is extremely easy. Within it, they have their own internal like AI that they use to help you build those. And the way they interact with MCPs is it helps you get to a coded action and not interacting with the MCP like per run of the workflow, which from my perspective is a little concerning at scale because of hallucinations, of course, with AI, right? I'd much rather have a consistent action each time. So that the way they approach that's kind of unique. And it's very easy to use. So what I've found with clients in particular, while you can get pretty detailed and pretty in the weeds with Gumloop, you can also let somebody that has never done anything with any sort of like no code workflow builder with it pretty easily. I've trained a lot of people that are just not very technical on it.
What's something you solved with it for a client recently?
Yeah. So one thing that I've built for a lot of different clients, you could theoretically do this within HubSpot workflows as well, but I found it easier to do with Gumloop, is pre-sales meeting prep. So basically every company has their own set of information that they're looking for on the potential lead before they jump on the call. Have a prompt that it goes through, does a deep dive into their website, social media, all kinds of other stuff, and then dumps it into a note within HubSpot in the deal before the sales rep jumps on the call. Usually something they're doing 15, 20 minutes before the call. Now it's just kind of sitting there for them. It's one like pretty replicable one that I've done a number of times. For myself, I use it to keep an eye on subreddits and comments on subreddits. It's actually an interesting source of meetings for me. Uh, yeah, so I could kind of keep an eye on people that have problems either with HubSpot or RevOps issues or AI implementation issues.
How does that flow work? Walk through like so.
Yeah,
You use Gumloop, but there's what is it doing? How's it doing? Where's it distributing that information so you can act on it?
yeah. So it's just a series of steps. If you think of it like Zapier or HubSpot workflows, and like a series. So it starts with just the subreddit list, goes through and looks through all of the posts and comments within that particular subreddit within a certain period of time. Runs through an AI prompt for each of those things as it relates to my own ICP. Rates them, kind of scale of, or scores them, scale of 1 to 10. From there, on like how likely it would be for it to be a good idea for me to jump in and kind of, hey, this is how you can approach this particular problem. And then it dumps all of the high value ones into a database in Notion that I go through and check every day.
Huh. Wow. I just said, wow, that's kind of cool. Okay. Okay, Kevin. We've got Gamma, Colify, Gumloop, and I'm a hankering for number 2 and 1 after
Two you might not have heard of, one you've definitely heard of. So number 2 is Data.ai, Daeda.
DAD.
Daeda,
Okay.
data. This has been a recent addition to my stack, but it's immediately just been absolutely crucial to how I interact with my clients and how I execute on projects. So I am terrified of giving Claude or any other LLM direct write access to the HubSpot API. It just absolutely terrifies me.
I'm gonna stop for 1 second before you go.
Yeah,
Is guys and gals, uh, if you ask any question to the MCP server of HubSpot, you will always get the wrong answer. It is never given executive access to this. Never read or write. It will just like there's a reason he's terrified.
yeah.
Cut. Okay. Now. Uh,
Yeah, so I mean, I'm terrified enough for it to write to records. I'm even more terrified for it to touch properties and workflows, right? Right? Especially in a mature portal where things are already
there's
working.
just no context, and this is like MCP is gonna be dangerous because like
Yeah,
what's gonna matter is more context. Okay, so I'm excited. Like why I'm excited why you're excited. I'm like
yeah.
I understand the problem with that. I just
So yeah, so I'm terrified to do that. I won't do it. Even though I know it will make it easier for me to deploy new workflows, deploy new properties, make updates to existing workflows, all of that. So what they've done is really unique. Whereas it's a middle layer effectively between your LLM Claude for me and HubSpot, right? So I can give it a very complex set of instructions. I create pretty crazy requirements documents and point Claude to it and say, this is what I want to do in HubSpot. Deploy these 50 properties, these 15 workflows, edit these other workflows, whatever, right? All in one big prompt. But what I get is in the app store, the app marketplace and HubSpot, I get like this secondary interface with write plans, and I can see the exact payload of every single change that's going into HubSpot before it gets deployed. And that makes me a lot more comfortable to do something like that. And it's changed the way that I interact with my clients and deliver projects entirely. Because now I spend at least 80% of my time, if not more, just focused on learning the business and coming up with the plan. AI executes entirely on my behalf, and my team spends 100% of their time on QA. The team that works for me does not do any execution anymore. They only do QA, and it leads us to execute much faster, but at a way higher level of quality because we only focus on QA.
so
Um,
what's an example of something that it's allowed you to build confidently?
Yeah, I mean, I had a client just last week or the week before that I just pushed the whole initial like a new deal pipeline, like 40 something properties and 15 workflows to automate the flow of their deal pipeline in HubSpot. It's a relatively new portal, just getting kind of the basics of setting absolutely everything up. All of the automations. It's they don't have a sales team yet. They're doing kind of like freemium product led growth kind of thing, and it's pretty much ready. It was ready to go within a day. And my team just spent the next day making sure everything worked effectively, and they made like 2 changes, which is fascinating to me.
Hmm. That is that's a new world for people in general,
Absolutely,
especially as HubSpot. If HubSpot continues to, we'll see how they open up their MCP and how fast they do it. There's still a lot of stuff that can't be done in it,
sure.
so you have to like I don't know how comfortable you are, but let your computer take control of your extension and push buttons for you. Like you got to like, there's still stuff that you have to do there. Okay. And number one, so let me go through this. We got Gamma, Qualify, Gumloop, and Data.ai. .ai. What is number one?
Yeah, so this is probably a little weird, but it's Notion. It's where I store all of my context, right? Nothing that I do with AI would be as effective as it is if I didn't have everything connected to Notion. I actually use Notion AI more than I use Claude. I really only use Claude if my output is outside of Notion, right? But for my day-to-day work, project management, creating docs, updating my databases, project plans, they're all in Notion anyway. So I use Notion AI for it. It's really when I need to do something outside of Notion that I'm using Claude.
Okay, so let's give some examples. So you're saying I use Notion AI more than I use my LLM, and so Notion AI,
I mean, yeah.
probably using LLM, but like,
Well, that's the thing. It's kind of a cute kind of way. That's not true, right? Because I'm using Opus 4.8 as the model within Notion, right? 99% of the time, right?
So what is it? What are the top three actions you're doing in Notion that and how are you doing that in Notion that is helpful as a small agency that's attempting to scale really quickly?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, number one thing I do is meeting transcripts and interacting with my transcripts. I don't use Grain or Firefly.
You have used they have a call transcription and it goes directly into and it connects to the meeting and you have your meetings in Notion. Is that what that?
Yeah, it doesn't join the meetings like a lot of the tools. It's one of the ones that uses your local audio. It's recording right now, for example. I didn't have to join this because it noticed that I was using just local audio. It's similar to like there's functions similar to Crisp if you've run into that before.
Yep, I use Crisp. Yep.
There you go. It's like the same exact thing. I actually canceled Crisp because I started using this and it was integrated into the tool that I was already using. So
and I use Crisp because it got rid of background noise, not for
okay
recording after they look. Yep.
Crisp is an interesting one too, just because their like people detection, like speaker detection, that's the word I'm looking for, is like way better than anybody else's.
That's why I used it because I had a lot of children that would randomly run into my. I went to I had a vacuum cleaner. I was like, well, actually, I was like, I could put a vacuum cleaner here. I could talk and pick me up. You couldn't hear anything.
Oh no, I even meant more along the lines of like it picks up somebody's voice, right? So on the call, and it knows that that's the person speaking. Once you identify them once, it's interesting.
Okay, so that one is it does local. It's doing your local recorder, and it's allowing you to every meeting have transcription. I'm sure you have some kind of workflow that would push that through in some way.
Yeah, so I mean, after every meeting, interact. Like I open up a new AI chat window within my transcription in order to create the next steps for my project with any client that I'm working with. So like that's use case number 2 is I'm building my project plans for my clients within Notion, and a lot of times it's an intersection of the transcript of the meeting that we just had and all of the historical context that I have on that client within Notion.
So it keeps you why not? This is my question. Just why not? There's a lot of ways to solve this and crack that nut.
Oh yeah.
How do I create the contextual layer for my relationship with the agent? Why not use something like HubSpot where you're putting the transcription notes in there, but then that is the layer that has the relationship data. Then it's just querying that company record. Like what? Yep. Why? It's just helpful.
I will probably graduate to that once my team gets larger. But at least for now, right now, there's a lot of value in me having all of that customer data along with like my third use case that I was going to mention. It's my second brain. It has all my personal information in there as well. I use it for grocery shopping, sharing lists with my wife. I use it for Christmas. Like if anyone got a hold of my Notion, they would know everything about me. I would be screwed.
Right? Well, somebody is now going to do it somewhere somehow.
Yeah, exactly.
So, it's funny when I was starting Rev Partners, 6.5 years ago, 7 years ago, I don't know what it was. When we did it, it was still open. Is it Notion or is it, do you remember their competitor?
Obsidian?
I'm going to say Coda.
Oh, I've never even heard of Coda.
Yeah. So there was this big debate on whether you're doing, which Grammarly has since bought it, but it was Notion. We built everything. It was literally they were like for like. So I built everything on Coda. And for the first, until we had 5-10 people. It was our project management system. It had everything that you're talking about, just not AI. But it had everything. That's how we ran the entire company, and it eventually imploded because I couldn't maintain it, and I needed something that was just that I could just wasn't as good. I just need something else to move it. That's what we moved.
100%. I've had conversations with solo founders where they're like, I'll even suggest, I'm like, you can use something like Notion for like your CRM for a very short period of time, but don't get stuck on. You're going to have to graduate from that to a real CRM pretty quickly if it starts to work, right?
Yeah, there's like the CRM. It just already has all the correct data linkings that gives some of the context and relevance. Now, yes, you have to do other things, but it does that, and you get to recreate. That's actually difficult, and it's actually difficult to maintain it. It's hard.
I mean, I still use HubSpot for my deal flow, right? So like I'll get off the transcript. I'll have Claude update my HubSpot record with the note from Notion, right? It's just all of my execution data for customers. It's just structured better in Notion. I think the HubSpot projects object at some point might get close to this in some way, shape, or form. I don't really know.
That's their hope, at least. I see it. There's some beta stuff coming out. We'll see. That'd be cool. If you could do transcription, auto-create projects, have notes, do next steps, and have the context layer, that would be powerful.
But yeah, 100%.
Kevin, appreciate you, man. Thank you. You've already done some of your noble trends of like what you're talking about clients. I would love to have you on again for this. If you're down to do here's what I tell my clients that are 5 million in revenue to like 20. Yeah, I think that'd just be a fun thing to do. Kevin, where can people find you if they want to chat with you?
Yeah, you can find me at Revductive.com. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'll probably accept your request. Probably two easiest places.
Okay. Kevin, appreciate you. And everybody else, thank you all for this. Until next time, adios.